Hello and welcome back to Maximo Bite Size, a series of videos on the functional aspects of Maximo Manage. This is the fourth episode in the series on asset management. I'm Andrew Jeffrey and today we'll continue the subject of meters, introduced in the third episode, but now we'll take a look at the meter applied to the location or asset. Please subscribe to the Maximo Secrets channel so that you don't miss out on new episodes as they are being published. I am planning a further 10 videos in this asset management series. Meters can be applied to both locations and assets, and they operate in almost the same manner. Our focus will be in the assets application, but I'll highlight any differences with meters on locations. We'll start today by looking at the different ways in which asset and location meters can be created in Maximo, and we'll follow this with reviewing meter readings for the different types of meters. Finally, we'll review the Reset Replace Meter feature that is used only with continuous meters. These are runtime meters where the meter reading increments over time until it rolls over, like a utility meter or the odometer in your car. So let's get started. We are in the Assets application and on the Meters tab, and for Pump 11430 there are two meters, a gauge meter for the outlet pressure and a continuous type of meter for the run hours. Both asset meters are at active state, which is the default. This allows meter readings to be entered or calculated, and the meter can be used to generate work orders, both through the preventive maintenance and the condition monitoring applications. If you no longer want to collect meter readings on an asset or location meter, then toggle the state to inactive. You cannot delete the asset or location meter if there are meter readings. There are 5 ways in which the location and asset meter records can be created. By using the new row button, by applying a meter group, but only when no meters exist for the asset, otherwise the field will be read-only. By referencing a rotating item that references a meter group, in which case the meter group is copied to the asset and the meters of the meter group are created on the asset. By adding a new meter to a meter group. On the meter groups application, there's a setting to copy the new meter to all locations and assets that reference that meter group. The fifth method is to add a meter or meter group to an asset template and apply this to the assets that belong to the asset template or to new assets. The asset template has no effect on locations. When an asset is updated from an asset template, any missing meters are copied. The details area of an asset or location meter shows the last reading date and the person who recorded the meter reading, the last reading inspector. There is an optional sequence field for ordering the meters, and some industries like aviation work with many meters on a single asset. For gauge and characteristic meters, when a corresponding record is created in the condition monitoring application, then the key field called point is copied to the asset or location meter record. For continuous type meters, you should review the method for calculating the average units per day, as this value drives when meter-based preventive maintenance will generate a work order. In the example shown in the bottom left for the run hours meter, the average calculation method is set to static, and this enables the average units per day field to be entered. Otherwise, the field is read-only. The reading type is either actual or delta. The rollover point should be entered, and the life-to-date for asset field is the cumulative meter readings. In this example, a reading exceeding 4 million is surely fictitious, as at the average units per day, this equates to a little under 466 years. The Accept Roll Down From field can be set to location, asset or none, but we'll discuss that more in the next session on meter readings. In the Locations or Assets application, you will find the Enter Meter Readings action. You'll also find this action in the Details menu on a location or asset field in work order based applications like work order tracking. The meters you will see are those marked as active, not the inactive ones. Readings for all three meter types can be entered in the new reading field. When a value is entered, the new reading date is populated from date and time now, and the current logged in user is entered into the inspector field. The previous meter reading and reading date are shown. The select value on the new reading field is only used when the meter type is characteristic. For continuous meters, the actual or delta settings can be overridden in the details area. However, the delta value will always be calculated. The delta value is used to increment the four values on the right that start with the word since. For example, the reading since last overhaul. We will come back to these four fields in the next section on Reset Replace Meters. The values are not incremented until you use the OK button. At this time, the life to date for asset field is calculated, and the average units per day may also be recalculated. The previous reading and previous reading date are reset. If you are entering an actual value and the reading has rolled over, then you must toggle the rollover field to allow Maximo to accept a lower value than the previous reading. If the meter type is gauge or characteristic, then the new reading is also copied to create a measurement record that you can see in the condition monitoring application. This uses the point field which we saw earlier. This might generate a work order if the measurement exceeds the action limits or corresponds with an observation value that references a job plan or PM. The value you enter in the new reading field is dependent on the meter type. Negative values can only be entered on gauge type, and alphanumeric values can only be entered on characteristic type. A meter reading for a condition monitoring point can be entered via a work order task. For continuous meter types on asset meters, you can define whether a meter reading is rolled down from a parent asset or location, or whether no roll down occurs. The asset meter field is called Except Roll Down From. The meter reading record records from which location or asset the meter reading came from. This can help with traceability. There is no roll down of meter readings between locations in a location hierarchy. A second difference with assets over location meters is that the meter reading can be incremented from the quantity issued of an item. This feature used to be called meter material usage, but that was a long time ago. It occurs when an item in the Item Master application references a meter and the same meter name exists on an asset. For example, if you issue 10 litres of oil to an asset and the non-rotating item has a meter and that meter also exists on the asset, then the issued quantity is added to the current meter reading for the asset meter of the same name. You can modify previous meter readings for continuous meters using the Manage Meter Reading History action. This is where the reason field might be used. This is found in the Details area for the table window rows in the Continuous Meter Readings tab shown at the top right. The Characteristic and Gauge Meter Readings tab shown below this shows multiple previous measurements or observations, but these records are read-only. You cannot modify their historical values. However, remember I said that the meter readings for these meter types are copied through to create measurements records, and these can be seen in the condition monitoring application. And in this application, old measurements or observation values can be modified, but not the date time at which the measurement or observation was made. The Reset Replace Meters action will be found in both the Assets and the Locations applications. It is only used with continuous type meters. In the example for pump 11430, shown in the top right, Only the run hours meter is shown, not the outlet pressure, which was a meter of type gauge. When resetting meters, there are 4 fields that start with the prefix since. Since last repair, since last overhaul, since last inspection, and since install. The values for these fields can be reset manually in the table window. Each of these fields is incremented with the delta for a new meter reading. 3 of these fields can be automatically reset to 0 based on the work type of the work order. In the Organisations application and work type action, which will be found under the work order options menu item, there is a field called type with a set of values that includes repair, overhaul, inspection, none and CAL. As shown, CAL is introduced with calibration. When a work order of a particular work type completes, you can reset either the fields since last repair, since last overhaul, or since last inspection by setting the type field to repair, overhaul, or inspection respectively. You can also use the Reset Replace Meters dialog to reset the rollover point or the average units per day. The details area shows the new reset values alongside the current values. If a physical meter breaks and is replaced, the starting point for the meter could be any value. The Reset Replace Meters dialog allows you to set the last reading value and the last reading date, and last reading inspector will be defaulted to date time now and the logged in user. These fields are found in the details area. The last reading may be lower than the current meter reading. You may consider restricting who can use the action Reset Replace Meters compared with the users who use the Enter Meter Readings action. I hope you've enjoyed this episode on location and asset meters, and thank you for watching. Next up in the series on asset management, we'll be reviewing asset templates. You can receive notifications if you subscribe to this channel, which of course we hope you will do. If you enjoyed this video, please also give it a thumbs up. The music is called Busy City from the talented group called Track Tribe. Please check them out on tracktribe.com, all one word. Until another time, goodbye.